Hello, welcome along to Factory Talk this week. Now we're back on the shop floor and we are talking to Adam Lucas, who is the Managing Director of Polstore Limited. They're based in Guildford in Surrey here in the UK. The company are specialists in the manufacture and supply of storage and retrieval systems. So Adam, thanks for being with us this week. Just tell us first of all where the name of the company came from.
Goes back a long way. Obviously, the name is Polstore and it's split, so it's the POL, and it's to do with the German furniture manufacturer, which was called Polstore. So when the name was made, we thought we'd take the POL off Polstore, and we obviously do storage. So Polstore seemed like the right name for the job.
Purely logical, excellent. So give us some history about Polstore then. I think it stretches back now, getting on for 60 years.
It does, goes back a long way. 1963 was when my dad and mum started the business. I think they were doing, my father was doing some work with George Kingsbury's years and years ago. And they saw this kind of sort of change in the market where shelving and drawers, you get more of a high density storage system. So there was a kind of little market there, putting a cabinet with a machine tool. And that's where it really started, and because not many people were doing it, the business thrived. So starting from literally an office, we moved to Isha, and then we were importing cabinets from Germany, obviously from Polstore, and the market just took off with companies like British Aerospace. You know, they took on board these kind of satellite stores, and you know, it was good business. So once we sort of were importing, we then decided to manufacture. So we moved to Byfleet. We were manufacturing drawer cabinets mainly, but then we came the sort of market asked for shelving and other workbenches, and the company grew. Unfortunately, we had a nasty glitch in '98. I'll gloss over that a bit, but that really stopped that side of the business in its tracks. So I then started. I've always worked for Polstore all my life. I was a welder and built myself up in it. So I've seen the whole history. So I sort of took it over in about, I think it was 1999, and sort of worked and built it up through there. So we finally got ourselves into a position where we moved to Guildford, where we are now. And we have sort of a team of 10, but we deal with so many varied sectors and varied different businesses. And we grow. There's a team of 10 of us now, and yeah, we're doing well. We've got warehouses here and offices, so yeah, it's been quite a checkered history.
Yeah,
for sure.
We'll talk about some of the things that you actually, the sectors you're involved with, the things you manufacture. But first of all, I'm keen to find out, when did you start manufacturing? Because it sounds as though, from what you're saying about the history, that wasn't what the company was initially.
No. So I guess we must have started manufacturing probably 4 or 5 years. So probably 1972, 73 was really when we were starting to make cabinets, just with machines. We'd have an auto bender, we'd have a welding machine, some pillar drills. But what was nice is the German manufacturer gave us all their tooling drawings, and we worked with a metals company who would punch out all the drawer carriages. But that's really where it all started, the manufacture. Unfortunately, now we don't manufacture our cabinets. We use a lot of subcontractors, or we import in. But you know, not to say that's something I'm not looking to do in the future.
Right. So you could be moving back into manufacturing then as the company continues to develop.
Yeah, definitely.
Something we found in Factory Talk, we talked to a lot of SMEs. How many of them? The business is still in the family. Was it always a case that you would go into working at Polstore?
I think so. I went to university, and that you've always, obviously, as a holiday job or whatever, you go and work for your parents' company if you're lucky enough to have that. And it's just something I've always done. It's been hard as a family business, I must say. It's not so much of a family business now because I'm the managing director. My 2 other brothers have different businesses, although one brother is doing a similar kind of fitting shelving and around the country. So he has a similar, but we all have our different kind of skills and businesses now going on. So I wouldn't have said it's so much of a family business. There's still a bit of shareholding going on within the family, but I run it now pretty much 99% of the time.
Okay, so much that we've found out about the history of the company. Tell us the sort of sectors that you work within at the moment.
Yeah, sure. So it's a difficult one because anyone can really buy our type of equipment, and we kind of we struggle really to focus on certain sectors. Mainly it's engineering, and I class that as manufacturing as well. Within engineering, it's really people who produce swarf. Is pretty much what I class as engineering, and that might cover automotive, aerospace, the manufacturing side of things. So that's really kind of our core business, has always been. But what we do, what has happened in the past and now in the present is the different sectors, all our products kind of migrate across. And we've done a lot in education. That would be more sort of universities, where they have their sort of manufacturing facilities and teaching students all about the processes. Education is a big part of our business, and we've now started to do a lot in the military as well, because our products lend to heavy use environments. The military enjoy sort of bashing our stuff around really, and it lasts. It really does last. And then we also are trying to sort of make headways into rail. Again, a heavy use industry, but we're finding it quite hard to get into that sort of sector. And food and pharma is something we're looking at again this year. So it's difficult to say. Primarily, we have our sort of 3 or 4 focus sectors. Not so much for the listeners, but we also do a lot in the heritage sector as well, where we fit out museums, because the drawer system is great for storing artifacts and shelving, etc. So it's an interesting, very varied markets we deal with.
So if a museum or whatever comes to you, can you produce a bespoke system for them, or is it all off the shelf stuff?
No, definitely, absolutely bespoke. It can be off the shelf, but we thrive in that kind of market where we have to add detail and upgrade to standard products. We're doing one at the moment where it's going into the Derby silk mills, and it's a great little museum. Well, I say it's little; it's actually quite large, and they've got a Rolls-Royce engine hanging up right in the when you walk into the atrium. A huge turbine engine's hanging up there, and they're kind of focusing on obviously Derby being a real centre for manufacturing, and we've manufactured this large cabinet. It's about 2 meters wide by 1,500 deep, and it's got glass inside. So when you open up the drawers, it's got a glass cover, and it has all the. I'm not exactly sure what they're going to put in it, but you're probably going to look at sort of drawings of old engines and things like that. So yeah, it's kind of got that mix really of it. Although we deal with engineering sectors, museums obviously are showing off the engineering past of the UK, so it's good.
So tell me how that works. And we'll keep with that one because we're on it. Do they come to you and say, we need something for this, and you design it, or do they say, this is what we need, can you produce it?
It's a bit of both. They generally will know what they want from past experiences. A curator or someone like that would probably be looking at something they've done in the past. So they do know what they need, but there's certain aspects of the drawer slide which is needed. Perhaps when they shut the drawer, it needs to lock. The glass has to have a certain level of security on it. They may want soft close drawers. Obviously, in say like an engineering workshop, you wouldn't have soft close drawers because, like a kitchen, it's a very high frequency of use. A soft close probably would wear out after time. But in a museum, the object doesn't want to move when you close and shut the drawer, because obviously it could damage it, but also it moves the kind of presentation of it. So yeah, perhaps a soft close you have to add to that, and we've even added electronic systems to it so that when you touch the drawer front, you push it, and then the drawer will actually open up on its own. And we've just done one for a private collector. So yeah, you can do all sorts.
And how long do these pieces last?
Well, we've got cabinets still in use after 40 years. So these pieces are really, they're there forever. Within our, I don't know what a timeline you'd say really. We sign tenders off for 80 years use. So we've done one for the National Portrait Gallery, and you've got an 80-year kind of a warranty on it, I guess. So yeah, 80 years you could say, a while.
When we were talking at the start, you mentioned 1998 and we glossed over that. I think a lot of people are probably going to want to gloss over 2020. I mean, how's business for you at the moment? Obviously, coronavirus continues to dominate. How is it affecting you? Are you still doing okay?
We're doing good, thanks. I think we're one of the lucky ones. Obviously, when things did happen initially in March, everything went extremely quiet, obviously extremely worried. We've got a great military kind of sector going on here, and the military doesn't stop. So we've been lucky enough to get business from that. The other sectors, though, have totally died a death. Education, heritage, obviously everyone's only just coming back from furlough on that now. And engineering, obviously people are slightly uncertain. So without the military, I would have said it would have been very hard. But to give you a sort of idea, we used the furlough scheme just for 6 weeks, and then I got all my staff back because we needed to do drawings and design. But the hardest thing at the moment really is we can't go out and visit so much. Doors are opening a bit, but unless you're an important or key kind of worker getting into these places, it's hard to visit. And most of our business is about visiting face to face, speaking to the client, doing the survey, understanding what they want, looking at all the processes within the manufacturing facility, things like that. So you have to visit. We've been using Zoom, and like we're doing here over online, and we do presentations, which works well, but you really need to visit, and that has hampered our business dramatically. So we've definitely been hit by it, but we've done well as well because we've developed quite a few new products, which have kind of given us a bit of extra business over the last sort of 3 or 4 months. So yeah, we're doing okay.
Good. Well, the key always to business is investment. I mean, when we spoke before we actually started the interview, you were telling me that you bought a new CNC machine. You also talked about foam manufacture. Tell us a bit about both of those.
Yeah, sure. I always think, always in my business, I've kind of, when there's a recession or everything like that, recessive market, I like to sort of pump up the marketing budget. I think sitting still and hiding away is the worst thing you can do. So we try and, react, new website or new newsletters or something going on new. So this year it's really exciting, actually. Something totally new to us is investing in a CNC machine. Had no idea before how to use one. It's a small machine compared to what some of your listeners would understand. It's just a trend CNC router with an X and Y and Z axis. But what we're doing here is we're now cutting foams. So we're really it's more, rather than foam packaging, it's more tool control, asset control. So we're manufacturing these foams, which are like a shadow board. So you'll have a color underneath, like a yellow, like an alarm color, and on top will be black. And then we'll go out to site and survey tools or assets, and then we'll come back. We've got a really clever bit of software. One of the biggest investments was actually on the cost was the software rather than just the machine. And that software will design the foam inlay to suit putting all the tools neatly in their place. And then we'll cut it here, and then we'll put it into our cabinets or into other people's cabinets. Just doesn't have to be our cabinets, it can be anything, or on shadow boards on the wall, things like that. And it's been great. The guys downstairs have been learning it. I'm looking at investing in someone to help me now because that has taken off quite a bit. It is quite intensive work. You spend, what I like about it is one of the main things, you actually spend a lot of time with the customer on site because you've got a survey. I'm doing a toolbox at the moment, which I think it's got about 700 tools in it. It's huge. And it takes a good 3 or 4 days to do that survey and understand where everything's got to go. But it's really nice to sit in the workshop. It's a very clean workshop, this one, so we're quite lucky. And you get to know the guys and girls on the shop floor, and you build a relationship. And that leads to something else as well, which is really good. So, yeah, the foam manufacturer's been a great move for us, and I think everyone's enjoying it here.
So you got the CNC machine. Any plans for any more further down the line?
Definitely. Yep, definitely. If this goes to well, I mean, it's early days, but we're nowhere near at capacity yet. But, I'd really like to get involved more in the CNC side of things. It's great.
You spoke about new products and investment, new marketing campaigns. Do you think, I mean, the last 6 months have seen a fairly big and a fairly forced change to the way a lot of people work. Will that be having any influence on the products that you offer?
I wouldn't say so much on the products side of things, but more on the service. We definitely get a phone call and we have to be quick on the response. I think we said earlier, we import in from Italy a lot of our product, and we've had to go out there and change the way, and they've changed the way they manufacture. We get calls like the other day from someone, they need 3 CNC cupboards to store tools. They bought the machine, they've invested in the machine, and the last thing on the list is these cupboards, and they need them straight away because they've got all this lovely tooling which is turned up and it's all lying on pallets and they need to put it somewhere. So we'll get that call and they'll need some sort of storage solution immediately. And that's definitely, we get that more often than not. So we've had to react to that by manufacturing more stock and having it held in place here in Guildford or over in Italy, so that we can respond to that. I also think people, I don't know if, I wouldn't like to say, I've got to be careful what I say here, but I wouldn't like to say the UK is awkward. I'm a little bit awkward when I purchase things, but we're I think we're very intent on detail. And we like to get things right. I'm not saying that's for everyone, but definitely the people who come to us are like that. That kind of fits our profile as the type of client we like. I mean, 5S is a good example. We're working with a manufacturer of structural metal, who have huge buildings in the UK, and we're trying to come up with a 5S solution with a workbench. They've got a vending solution, which they're sourcing from another company. And the detail they want on that bench, it's not just a workbench. It's got a tooling little station for the CNC tools that have lighting, special type of lighting with LEDs, have shadow boards. It becomes quite a complex solution, and it has to have a custom color because they have different stages of the process, and these workbenches will be positioned in different places. So you've got the custom color side of things. And when you open up that drawer, perhaps that foam needs to match the color. And things like that, we get a lot of inquiries like that. So it's a very considered purchase. It's not just off the shelf, we'd like 10 of them and that's it. It'd be great if it was, but it's a lot more considered purchase, so it takes a lot of time to get through. So I'd say that's probably the main influence on what we're kind of trying to offer there, the service and products. Yeah.
Adam, we're nearly out of time. I'm going to try and wrap a couple of questions into one. You mentioned the fact that you import from Italy. Recently, we spoke to Stephen Pipson from Make UK about the challenges of Brexit. I'm looking for a business view on this, not a political one. His message to the government is about the importance of getting a deal with the EU. I mean, bearing in mind your connections with Italy, what are your thoughts on that? And also, if you can sort of wrap that in with your thoughts about the UK manufacturing sector looking forward then.
So, with Italy, I think they struggle. Speaking to my supplier out there, and I spend a lot of time out there as well, it really fluctuates. The price of raw materials is really hard, especially paint at the moment. Funny enough, paint costs are all over the shop, and getting us, they're trying to get a sort of price list together on a yearly basis, and we haven't changed prices, but it's very difficult to get that, and I think that's what they're struggling with. Obviously, for us, you've got the exchange rate. I don't know what it's sitting at the moment. I don't dare look, but it's pretty poor. And that affects us profit-wise, but also our pricing going out to our clients. So it's really uncertain, and everyone uses that word, but it is true. And I think, for them out there trying to produce things, and the link between, trucks arriving in here, there's been delays coming in. Sometimes, we used to see a truck leave on a Friday, arrive on a Monday. Now, sometimes we don't see it till a Thursday. So there's definitely that issue there. Regards to the UK manufacturing, I don't know really how to sort of answer that. We get the feel that it's really about the investment coming from larger companies, which feeds down to us or our subcontractors. And if everyone else is busy, then we become busy. I think we've always been we get the reactions slower. So when we hear about recession, we're still quite busy. Then the market picks up and then it goes quiet again for us. It's difficult to really comment on the UK side of things on Brexit, but I just hope that decisions get made quicker than they are. Obviously, if no one knows what's going on, people don't want to push the button, and we need more people pushing that button. So, yeah.
Adam, it's good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. There's loads more things we could talk about. Perhaps you'll come on Factory Talk in a few weeks and we can pick up the discussion and have another chat. It's been great. Thank you very much indeed, Adam Lucas. That's it for the programme for this week. If you want to check back on any previous editions of the show, we've got Dolores Sanders from Total Control Pro and Nick English from Bremont Watchmakers. They're all available on MTD MFG for you to have a look at. That's it though for this week. I'll see you again in a week's time. Bye-bye now.